Boop, boop, boop. Hey guys, happy Friday afternoon. Friday. Whoa, Monday. Hope you're doing good. Hope all is good on the Google Classroom. We are gonna read book 12. For me, this kind of finishes the series. I have read past book 12, but I just felt in the classroom it didn't really work. This is a great way to end it and sum up everything. Obviously, these books go on and on. A lot of y'all have read these books, I think up into the 50s, which is pretty awesome. I prefer to read them in order. I know you guys know a lot of secrets and things about the stories that I don't. But here we go. Polar Bear Past Bedtime. Book number 12. 10 chapters. My favorite chapter is chapter 6. So Wednesday, we'll do that. All right. Chapter 1. Are you serious? Are you serious? Whoo! The strange sound came from outside the open window. Jack opened his eyes in the dark. The sound came again. Whoo! Jack sat up and turned on his light. He put on his glasses, then he grabbed the flashlight from his table and shone it out the window. A white, snowy owl was sitting in a tree branch. Whoo! The owl said again. Its large yellow eyes rolled. Its large yellow eyes looked right into Jack's. What does he want? Jack wondered. Is he a sign like the rabbit and the gazelle? A long-legged rabbit and a gazelle had led Jack and Annie to the magic treehouse for their last two adventures. Whoo! Wait a second, Jack said to the owl. I'll get Annie. Jack's sister, Annie, always seemed to know what birds and animals were saying. Jack jumped out of bed and hurried to Annie's room. She was sound asleep. Jack shook her and she stirred. What? She said. Come to my room, whispered Jack. I think Morgan sent another sign. In a split second, Annie was out of bed. She hurried with Jack to his room. Jack led her to the window. The snowy owl was still there. Whoo! Said the owl. Then he raised his white wings and took off into the night. He wants us to go to the woods, said Annie. That's what I thought, said Jack. Meet you downstairs after we get dressed. No. He says go now. Right now, said Annie. We'll have to wear our pajamas. I have to put on sneakers, said Jack. Okay, I'll put mine on too. Meet you downstairs, said Annie. Jack pulled on his sneakers. He threw his notebook into his backpack, then he grabbed his flashlight and tiptoed downstairs. Annie was waiting at the front door. They silently slipped outside together. The night air was warm. Moths danced around the porch light. I feel weird, said Jack. I'm going to go back to put on some real clothes. You can't, said Annie. The owl said right now. She jumped off the porch and headed across the dark yard. Ugh, Jack groaned. How did Annie know exactly what the owl said, he wondered. Still, he didn't want to be left behind, so he took off after her. The moon lit their way as they ran down their street. When they entered the Frog Creek woods, Jack turned on his flashlight. The beam of light showed shadows and swaying branches. Jack and Annie stepped between the trees. They stayed close together. Woo! Jack jumped with fear. It's the white owl, said Annie. He's somewhere nearby. The woods are creepy, said Jack. Yeah, said Annie. In the dark, it doesn't even feel like our woods. Suddenly, the owl flapped near them. Yikes, said Annie. Jack shone the flashlight on the white bird as it rose into the sky. The owl landed on a tree branch right next to the magic treehouse. And there was Morgan Le Fay, the enchantress librarian. Her long white hair gleamed in the beam of Jack's flashlight. Hello, Morgan called softly in a soothing voice. Climb up. Jack used his flashlight to find the rope ladder. Then he and Annie climbed up into the treehouse. Morgan was holding 3 scrolls. Each one held the answer to an ancient riddle that Jack and Annie had already solved. You have journeyed to the ocean, the Wild West, and Africa to find the answer to these 3 riddles, said Morgan. Ready for another journey? Yes, said Jack and Annie together. Morgan pulled a 4th scroll from the folds of her robe. She handed it to Annie. After we solve this riddle, will we become master librarians? Asked Annie. And help you gather books through time and space, said Jack. Almost, said Morgan. Before Jack could ask what she meant, Morgan pulled out a book and gave it to him. For your research, she said. Jack and Annie looked at the book's title, Adventures in the Arctic. Oh, wow, the Arctic, said Annie. The Arctic, said Jack. He turned to Morgan. Are you serious? Indeed I am, she said, and you must hurry. I wish we could go there, said Annie, pointing at the cover. Wait a minute. We'll freeze to death, said Jack. Fear not, said Morgan. I'm sending someone to help you. The wind started to blow. Meet us. Who? Said Jack. Who? Said the snowy owl. Before Morgan could answer, the treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 2. The Howling. So that could be howling wind, right? It could be howling dogs. The air was crisp and cold. Jack and Annie shivered. They looked out the window at the dark gray sky. The treehouse was on the ground. They're in a different habitat, right? There were no trees and no houses, only an endless field of snow and ice. Morgan and the owl were gone. Read the riddle, said Annie, her teeth chattering. Jack unrolled the scroll. He read, I cover what's real and hide what's true. But sometimes I bring out the courage in you. What am I? I'm going to read that again. I cover what's real and hide what's true, but sometimes I bring out the courage in you. What am I? I'd better write it down, said Jack, shivering. He pulled out his notebook and copied the riddle. Then he opened the book. He found a picture of a barren white field. He read aloud. The Arctic tundra is a treeless plain. During the dark winter, it is covered with snow and ice. In early spring, snow falls, but the sky begins to get lighter. During the summer season, the snow and ice melt and the sun shines 24 hours a day. It must be early spring now, said Jack. There's snow, but the sky is a little light. He turned the page. There was a picture of a man wearing a hooded coat with fur trim. Look at this guy, said Jack. He showed Annie the picture. We need his coat, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. Listen to this, he read aloud. This seal hunter wears sealskin clothing to protect him from icy winds. Before modern times, native people of the Arctic lived by hunting seals, caribou, polar bears, and whales. Jack took out his notebook. He wrote, The Arctic. There's Jack's handwriting. So this is the book that he's reading from. This is his handwriting. The Arctic. Seal hunters wear sealskin. He was too cold to write anything more. He clutched his pack against his chest and blew on his fingers. He wished he were back home in bed. Morgan said someone was coming to meet us, said Annie. If they don't come soon, we'll freeze to death, said Jack. It's getting darker and colder. Shh, listen, said Annie. A howling sound came from the distance. Then more howling sounds, and more. What's that? Said Jack. They looked out the window. Snow was falling. It was hard to see. The howling grew louder. It was mixed with yipping and yelping noises. Jack and Annie saw dark shapes coming through the snow. They seemed to be running towards the treehouse. Wolves? Said Annie. Great, that's all we need, said Jack. We're freezing, and now a pack of wolves is coming for us? Jack pulled Annie into the corner of the treehouse. They huddled to get close together. The howling got louder and louder. It sounded as if the wolves were circling the treehouse. They whined and yelped. Jack couldn't stand it any longer. He grabbed the Arctic book. Maybe this can help us, he said. He searched for a picture of wolves. Oh, hi, Annie said. Jack looked up. He caught his breath. A man was looking through the treehouse window. His face was surrounded by fur. It was the seal hunter from the Arctic book. All right, tomorrow we'll start with chapter 3. Mush. See y'all later. Bye.